You missed it. We just told everyone the definition of performance capture. Want to hear about it? Huh? Hey, where you going now?
Well, check this out. All the people you see on this train, the conductor, the kids, everyone in the scene had been made inside a computer by using actors. Plus lots and lots of little dots. Dots that literally capture, sort of like record, the performance of the actors.
Yeah, that's where the term performance capture comes from. Did you know that? Huh? Well, do ya?
What happens is every morning the actor wakes up and he goes into a makeup chair, and instead of putting on his wardrobe, he puts on sort of a lycra suit, and they attach these balls in places that can easily record all the movements of your body.
Performance capture captures the movement of the actor's face and their body.
So how does this actor, in this suit covered with all these dots, end up looking like this character in this scene moving around in the movie? Looking a lot like a real live person?
Basically, computer graphic skin is wrapped around that performance skeleton that has been recorded in the computer.
Stop the train! Stop the train!
Okay, I get it. It's time to stop and review.
A review?
So, to create all the characters in the Polar Express, a performer gets covered with dots, performs in the studio, that performance gets captured into a computer, and that frame or skeleton gets covered with skin and stuff. So, instead of the movie looking like a cartoon, it looks like hyperreality, like animated reality, like bringing a storybook to life. Wow, performance capturing is cool.
Performance capture process has unlimited possibilities, and it's really taken the pencil out of the hands of an animator and put it into the hands of the great actors.
It was very fun, but it was ridiculously challenging, but in a very, very good way, because it moved so fast, and if we could imagine it, we had it.
Yeah, all right. So now we know about the acting, but what about the action? Huh? How do they do that?
Patience.
Welcome aboard. It's time for lights, camera, action.
Want to know how they made the action in the Polar Express? Like this scene. Do you think a camera's right there on the North Pole? Well, do ya? Huh?
It's true that the Polar Express has plenty of excitement.
The flying elves. They are specialists. Do not try that at home, kids. Do not try that at home.
But the amazing thing about this movie is that all the movement was created in a virtual world.
So after you do the performance phase, then phase 2 is where you go in and you do the cinema part, where you actually go in and direct, where you put the cameras and how elaborate the scene is going to be.
Wow, look at that. A real camera and a real camera person, but everything's attached to a computer.
Basically, you can put your camera anywhere you want it, because it's a three-dimensional world. It's an environment, at least in the computer, really exists.
Wait a minute. How did the performers get into the picture?
Great question.
We start with this thing we call Michelin Men. That's what we basically use to lay out the shots, lay out the camera shots. The reason we use that is because they're such rudimentary computer graphic images that they don't slow the computers down with a lot of detail, so you can get that information in and out of the computers with a much faster speed.
One thing about trains, it doesn't matter where they're going. What matters is deciding to get on.
Once you have these moving Michelin Men, you're able to integrate them into three-dimensional sets and then place a camera into that set.
The performers are real, then they get animated. The camera is real, and the camera person is real, but it operates in a virtual set.
I could have a human camera operator actually operate the virtual camera, so it had a much more realistic and traditional movie cinema feeling.
Talk about taking virtual reality to a whole new level. Cool.
You got that right. All right, welcome aboard. It's time to take a closer look at hair and wardrobe on the Polar Express.
Yeah, how do you create clothes in a computer?
And how do you design digital doos?
It turns out that digital hair and its movement were the two most difficult phases of Polar Express production.
Think about it. First they had to get the shape right, then they had to figure out how the hair moved, like when the wind blew through it, like when Hero Boy was on top of the train.
So the hair crew got to work, designed every single piece of hair in the movie, put it on each character, then scanned it into the computer. Just like the engineer. They even did his beard. I wonder what his hair looks like. Wow, it's long. They did a great job.
We had situations in the movie where it was almost too detailed, so we turned some of the detail off.
And that's the Buzz on hair.
And speaking of Buzz, guess whose do was the easiest to do? Mine.
Exactly.
I told you my hair was on the right track.
All ahead, slow.
All right, from digital do's to creating costumes in a computer.
The creation of wardrobe, it was all done kind of in the foundation of live-action cinema brought into the computer.
Check this out. They had over 30 costumes to make for all the characters on the Polar Express.
Joanna Johnston put a costume on every character one time, one day, and then they did full makeup, like when we did Tom as Santa Claus, full hair, full beard, makeup, the whole thing, and he wore it for 15 minutes. We cyber scanned him, and that was it.
Wow, how great would that be? You can just scan on what you want to wear for the whole school year.
Well, there's a little more to it than that.
The actual movement of the clothing, obviously, the effects animators had to animate. That's where their artistry comes into play.
The computer would then register that information, and when it went through those movements during the course of the film, it would actually draw on those movements to create real dynamics, like in real life.
From designing digital do's and creating cool clothes to visualizing the North Pole. The makers of this movie have amazing imaginations.
That's right, they do. Welcome aboard. Hang on tight as we head off to the North Pole.
There is the North Pole.
Look!
Elves!
The North Pole is, in fact, an industrial place. I mean, they have to make toys for every kid in the world, and they have 1 year to do it all.
Yeah, and the way they make the gifts and get them ready to go is really efficient. Did you know they have to make millions of gifts every Christmas? Did ya? Did ya?
You know, all the depictions I'd seen of it before were little chalets, you know, he's got maybe 24 elves, and clearly that's not equal to the task of making toys for every kid in the planet. Some things, you know, you take on faith, that's belief. But I wasn't taking on belief the fact that you could make that many toys in one little Swiss chalet.
And the North Pole is a huge place. It's as big as New York City. It's a vast expanse of an industrialized, a cozy industrialized center.
Exactly how it looked was a result of spending a fair amount of my adult life in New England, where they have a lot of old mill buildings. Vast brick buildings that were made to make textiles and things like that.
So Chris Van Allsburg's memories were the inspiration they used to create the North Pole.
There are conveyor belts and chutes and slides and pneumatic tubes and all these things that lend itself to, like, wonderful adventure.
The North Pole is a cool place, but we don't want to be late, so let's stay on schedule.
We got plenty of time. We got nothing but time. We got time to kill.
Listen up. It's time to hear all about the great music on the Polar Express. Whether you're creating a mood or building drama or excitement to a scene, music adds so much to a movie, doesn't it?
Yeah, tell me about it.
And in Polar Express, there was a lot of music.
This is the most ambitious slate of songs that we've ever done in a film.
We've got, for instance, Hot Chocolate, which is a real kind of number.
Ooh, we got it! Hey, we got it! Say, we got it!
There's more stuff, more impossible things that are going on in the course of all these kids having their hot chocolate.
Ooh, we got it! Hey, we got it! Say, we got it!
Huge dance number. It's tap dance city. People are flying around and defying gravity.
Everyone loves hot chocolate.
You know, Montezuma, the king of the Aztecs, would drink 50 quarts of hot chocolate every day.
I didn't know that, but I do know that chocolate rocks. And in this movie, elves rock as well.
After these elves worked for an entire year to get all these toys done, they just have this blowout party. And they just start to just rock out. Went to Al Silvestri and Glenn Ballard and said, you know, we need a rocking song here because these elves are just going to rock. So they wrote this Rockin' on Top of the World song.
It felt to us like, the dream kind of person to do this would be Steven Tyler, the irrepressible spirit that he is.
I said, hey, that's great. Steve Tyler, he's got like a great elf look about him.
Sometimes a song can help define what the movie is all about.
Yeah, that's called a theme.
And then the end title song, which is really a theme that's carried from start to finish, which kind of wraps up the whole idea of the picture. And it seemed obvious to us that there were very few candidates who had the vocal ability to sing this, and we both looked at each other and said, it's Josh Groban.
It's called Believe, and it is about doing just that. What everybody has to discover is that the belief, comes from within you, and that it's something that no matter how old you get, that you have to keep with you.
If you just believe.
And I believe we're at the end of the making of the Polar Express.
So if movies have themes, what was the theme of this making of?
Well, why don't you look at your ticket?
Lean. Whatever that's supposed to mean.
Lean is spelled with 4 letters. I believed I'd punch 5.
Hey, are you saying I don't know how to... Oh, I'm sorry. It says learn. My mistake.
Lesson learned.